Welcome, folks, as we continue our journey through the Western Conference, looking at our offseason outlooks for each team. We're moving down the standings now. Here we land in Dallas with the Mavericks. A couple big moves here in the offseason for Dallas in terms of, losing free agent Jalen Brunson. There was kind of a sense, the New York Knicks, again, moved mountains to fit him into their cap and bring him in terms of, the whole CAA connection, and bringing his dad and all that. So Dallas loses kind of their real secondary scorer, secondary facilitator. And, going into next year, the big question is, can they survive without Jalen Brunson? And maybe what does that look like going forward? It's going to depend a lot on what Spencer Dinwiddie can do. Obviously, played pretty well this past playoffs. Also looking at, whether rookie Jaden Hardy can come in and provide kind of a spark off the bench, whether he's ready NBA-wise. He was, someone highly touted prospect, had kind of a tough G League, and so, stock definitely dropped, but could totally become a steal in the second round like Jalen Brunson was for Mark Cuban and company here in Dallas. And so there's kind of that whole thing. Can they replace Jalen Brunson? Major question mark going into next year. And then secondly, making the Christian Wood trade, which essentially they gave up a first-round pick and a bunch of kind of end-of-the-bench guys for Christian Wood last year on his deal. Couple questions here in terms of what does that look like, offensively and defensively for them. On paper, I think it makes a ton of sense. You get, some more front court scoring when you think about what Luka's kind of teammates in the front court have looked like the past couple of years. It hasn't been that impressive from the offensive end. Kleba, it's great defensively. Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Dwight Powell, some of the guys that are small forward, power forward, centers. They fill roles, but they're not necessarily an offensive talent to the level that Christian Wood is. Can shoot from the outside, can give you, 30 points on any given night, and probably, whether Porzingis is in this conversation, but probably one of the best offensive talents Luka has played with in his relatively short career. Could see him, pick and roll with Luka, pick and pop, setting off-ball screens for the shooters. Tim Hardaway Jr. is coming back, which I think is kind of crucial for them to add another shooter with now Bertans, Bullock, and Dorian Finney-Smith. They have a lot of great kind of wings, length defensively. It's just a matter of can they generate enough offense outside of Luka for those, patches where he's off the floor. And then can Christian Wood defensively, provide enough rim protection that they're not getting burned by some of the best big men in the league. What does this team look like against Nikola Jokic, against Karl Anthony Towns, against some of the kind of more traditional big men that Christian Wood is going to have to go up against? Can he be a defensive center, or are you going to have to try and pair him with Dwight Powell or some situation like that? They also signed JaVale McGee, which will provide some more size at the center position, some more strength. Guy who's seen it all, been through a lot, played for, playoff contenders, championship teams, will bring a lot of experience and depth to the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to be in the conversation, especially after, what they were able to accomplish in these playoffs. Can they repeat it? Can Luka capture that magic again? Can they stay healthy? It's going to be difficult because they are really still a single-star team. And when you look at the past, decade, it really is going to take more than one. We rarely have seen any kind of team built like this, since maybe the Dirk Nowitzki Mavs, in terms of having someone that's kind of head and shoulders above the rest Could argue maybe Kawhi Raptors, but Pascal and Kyle Lowry, I feel like we're closer than anyone was to Dirk. So, would that work? Can they still compete with, the Phoenix Suns, with the Warriors, with Memphis? They showed it this year. Whether that's a repeatable thing is going to be a big question here. And whether, is this a team primed to make a big move? Because do they have any assets to acquire a second star? Could Luka even, play with the second star offensively? What would that even look like? And, they don't have the kind of assets really to make that move yet. We'll see if Jaden Hardy kind of blossoms. Maybe he becomes a big trading chip to try and move up. They got a decent amount of kind of contract diversity and trying to match salaries, but there's just, they ran into this ever since kind of Kristaps has been there in terms of not having much flexibility. But now they got a lot of kind of roster slots between the 20 to 10 million that you could stack on top of each other to match kind of a star contract. It's just the assets that fill those slots just aren't that appealing at the moment. So this is probably the crew they're going to have to go with for the foreseeable future. It's never really pretty with the Dallas Mavericks, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's a lot of just Luka kind of forcing the issue. But it's worked. It worked in the playoffs because, a lot of playoff basketball does come down to isolation plays, and Luka has shown that he can score in those moments. Spencer Dinwiddie also has shown he can score in those moments. So I wouldn't sleep on the Mavericks by any means. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be flashy with these Mavs, but they've proven they can win playoff series, and I'm not going to doubt them. I will continue to keep them in that kind of upper echelon of the Western Conference as kind of a top 4 team, coming off a 4 seed now. Don't see any reason why they can't be a 4 seed or above going into this season, but that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Where do you have these Dallas Mavericks in terms of Western Conference standings going into this year? Love to hear what you have to say, but that's going to do it for me for now. Take care of yourselves. Take it easy. And I'll see you next time.